Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. This is not going to be a video game. Well, it is, but not really going to be our standard video game video. It is the time of year that we talk about the latest and greatest from Farm Sim, and that would be the Platinum expansion. We're going to take a look at the fact sheets. We're going to take a look at some of the trailers. I'm not, once again, I don't like doing raw videos where it's like, hey, watch my channel for news, because I don't do news videos. I just have fun playing the game. But this is pretty big, and once in a while I'll put a video. This is the only video, knock on wood, that I'm going to do about the upcoming DLC until I actually have it in my hands. Don't forget, I will be getting early access, so please come here because we're going to be playing it a lot. I'm going to have a lot of videos that I'm going to put up. We're going to be streaming it. And I got to tell you, this expansion is probably the coolest expansion that's come out for Farm Sim since I've been in the game since 15. So now 15 had a big lumber jump. They didn't have lumber before, and lumber came into the game in Farm Sim 15. So I've been playing the game with lumber in it all along. I don't use it often, but now with this new chain that they've set up and with the new vehicles that they're bringing in and the yarder and all that stuff, this is going to be really like logging, and it's going to be really cool. I'm very excited about where it's going, and I think this might be the most excited I've been about an expansion, which is kind of funny because, like I said, I wasn't huge into the logging, but as I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, this is really cool stuff, and I think we're going to have some fun. I know we're going to start a series on the new map. Kyle's going to join me. I know that JV said he might join, and then also my wife is interested in joining, so we'll see. We'll keep it open and maybe have a viewer join here and there, but it's going to be fun. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at the equipment that's going to be coming out with this DLC, and then go over the details of the DLC itself. All right, so first off, we have a mini forwarder. This is a Volvo BM SM462. Pretty cheap price at $55,000. I got to tell you, one thing that I love about this is that it gives you, a lot of these logging equipment forwarders that we've had in the game traditionally have been uber expensive devices. Here's one that's less than $100,000. In fact, it's about half that. And it's offering us forwarding abilities on the logging scale that I honestly like. I don't necessarily like cutting mammoth logs, though I think for this DLC we're going to have to get into that. But at least you can afford to get started. And that's my point. It's so hard to get into lumber in the game because the machinery is like $400,000 or $500,000. Well, here we have a forwarder that's very affordable. Now, rumor has it that we're going to have to do some mining. Okay, there's an ore to make. You have to mine iron ore and make steel. And so for some of the projects that we're going to be doing on the new map, you're going to have to create steel. Once again, they've had this in mod form, and some people are going to complain, well, it's already a mod. Yes, I know. But they're adding it officially into the game. So we have here an excavator, because you're probably going to have to use that to be able to excavate the ore. And so we have a Volvo. It's $260,000. It's kind of pricey. You may want to lease it at first. But it's a decent-sized excavator. And on top of that, you can see attached to it is a tree planter. This is by Rizutech. It looks like it holds 240 tree saplings, that's a crazy amount because the tractor one I think holds 12. So anyway, nice big upgrade there. Got a new Volvo truck coming into the game. It has now, if you look at it carefully, it's got pretty beefy tires here. These are not your standard American truck tires. They are mud tires. And you can see they're the same with the back tires here. If you play snow run at all, these are considered mud tires. So it's meant for off-roading. You could probably also use it as an agricultural truck. It's a little steep on the price at $150,000. Some of the other trucks are a little bit cheaper, but this one looks like it is purpose-built for, well, in this case, they're pulling wood chips. You recognize this Demco dumper, but you could also use it with a logging trailer. So it's going to be a logging truck. Cool truck. All right, next up, we have this Inpex Hannibal T50. Probably one of the most expensive tree cutters I've seen in the game. This goes the opposite direction. You can see that it is gyroscopically stabilized. It looks like you can like go up some pretty steep hills, and it stays level. Some of the other cutters do that also that we have in game, so that's not something that's new. But this one looks like it'd be easier to maneuver through the woods, as it doesn't have the long butt sticking out. It's all one piece instead of being broken into two parts. And it also looks like it could lift the whole tree, maybe. It seems like they do lift them and move them around. So you might be able to maneuver this so that it lifts and cuts over a trailer and just drops the log right into the trailer. I don't think they do that in real life, but yeah, who knows? Maybe. Still, it's a cool truck. Or, well, cutter. Next up on the back of this Vultra-looking tractor, we have a Fanzelt Maschinenbau. It is a winch, not to be confused with a wench. They bring you drinks. This one brings you logs. So we have this Fanzelt, and it basically attaches to the back of a tractor, and you can use it to pull logs. Now, yes, we do have these in game already, but this is just a new brand of the same thing. Next up, and I really like this one because it's not articulated. It seems like a lot of the wheel loaders that we get are articulated. So this one is not. Now, it is a rear steer. That'll make it a little bit awkward, but still easier to use. But we have a little Volvo BM. We'll be using this, obviously, to move iron ore and maybe some other items. You can probably also use it to move wood chips. So there's that. All right, next up we have another, well, I guess this is a tree cutter, a feller buncher. So maybe you cut the tree down. I'm not sure what you do with this. Once again, I'm not a logger, so I don't know how the industry works, aside from you probably would cut this tree and then put it in a pile with other trees, and then later they come back with a harvester and cut them up into shorter pieces, I'm imagining. So this thing probably just cuts the tree down and you can throw it into a pile with other trees, and then the cutter stripper thing comes along and strips it. Pretty pricey piece of equipment, $284,000. I'm going to have to look up and see how these actually work in real life. But like I said, I would imagine they cut the tree, they move the tree, and then they don't set it in a pile somewhere. And later on, other vehicles are used to strip the branches off and to cut the logs into pieces to process them. So, all right. So we have here a tractor with, it looks like, reversible steering. That is set up for you to move logs around the yard, maybe load them in the trailer, stack them into nice, neat piles. With logging, if you watch real life logging, they do sort them into piles by length, by thickness. And if you see a logging yard, there'll be several large piles of long logs that are different, sizes and shapes. And in this picture here, it looks like this tractor it's a K300R Gen 2 by Koch Schenruther. Obviously a German company, or with the bull, maybe it's, I don't know. It could be Spanish. I don't know who makes it, but I'm sure somebody in the comments will. It actually looks like it's based on a John Deere. If you look at that grill right there and the lights, those are like John Deere parts. So it might be based on a John Deere tractor. Anyway, I was wondering what this thing on the front was, but it looks to me like this is the arms when they fold, that'll come up over the front of the tractor and rest in here. That's most likely what that's for. So pretty cool. And, ooh, so exciting. Another winch. Okay. I would say this is one of those, big features, because they've been touting this thing for a long time. When they announced this summer that, Volvo's coming to the game, I was like, oh, good. I thought it was going to come out as a DLC, but really they were announcing for the Platinum expansion, which is different than they've ever done before. Usually they don't start announcing the equipment for the Platinum expansion until it's getting close to time to release it. But anyway, we have this giant log handler, much better than our normal front loaders, because as you can see here, this has up in this section, this pivots. See that right there? So you can actually turn this around and roll it around and kind of, get the logs where you want them. I hope to God they fix some of the physics stuff, because I'm just afraid I can just see these sliding out. You know, these things always slide around when you get them in these grapplers. And I'm praying that they fix that so these things don't slide back and forth. But we'll see what happens, because that would make it so much better and so much more fun if they weren't slipping. Though, to be honest, I haven't played Farm Sim logging that much in 22. I don't really know if they slip or not anymore, because when I first did it, when the game first came out, it was upsettingly bad. But I haven't played it since then, so they may have fixed it. Next up, we have, I love this tractor. And I know Lizard has like the same, obviously they copied it and made Lizard tractors off of this. But so we have an actual Volvo 2654 tractor. It's going to be used in farming and in logging, possibly. I don't know. It's just another tractor. I like it. I think it's cool. I don't see it necessarily being part of this whole logging expansion. Obviously, here we see it cultivating. So next up, we have what I personally think is the most exciting part of this new DLC. Yeah, it looks kind of weird. This is a yarder for those of you that haven't seen one before. Basically, you can see at the top, it's almost like a tent. These lines run off into the woods, and then you have a pulley system, and these will keep it from tipping over. But you attach the pulley to another tree somewhere off in the woods, and you attach logs to this pulley, and it yanks them back and pulls them all into one section. So you would use this. You run around the forest, you cut down a bunch of trees, and you use this device to bring them all into one area, and then you use, let's say, that tractor, the John Deere-ish looking tractor with the name I'll never be able to pronounce, and you use that to load them all into a pile. And then you bring a forwarder up, and the forwarder loads them into the back of the forwarder, and you take them down for processing. So this is, or to load onto a truck or to put into a pallet. And you can see here, this one's got a log attached to it right there. That is going to be really awesome. I love the yarding. This is something that they do in real life. Pretty much any logging yard that you see, or any lumber company that you see, they almost always have yarders. So this is a cool way to do it. Makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more hands-on, bringing real-life logging to the game. This is really cool. Next up, we have a Komatsu brand tree cutter. Maybe not the most exciting thing. It's another tree cutter, and it's about the same price as the other ones. This one has, it looks like only treads, and it's Komatsu, so that's kind of cool. Now this picture has a double dose. First of all, we have a vintage Globetrotter from Volvo. I'd say this is probably a 1990s model, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even late 80s, but it looks like a 90s model to me. $102,000, 400 horsepower-ish. I'm sorry, 500 horsepower-ish. This is a cool truck and fits the logging theme very well. But you can notice here the tires. I don't know if it comes with the beefy off-road tires, but this one has regular road tires. We see another feature of the new DLC here, kind of just not really mentioned, but hidden in the back. We have one of our trailers, and he is loading, oh, look at pallets of lumber into the back. That's pretty cool. Actually, well, we can still do this in game now, but it's neat to have all this, the Volvo and we have a Manitou. What I like is this Manitou forklift with a big old butt. This thing is a heavy duty forklift. And so it can lift some weight, and I like that because I love using the forklifts. They're easy to use, much easier to load a truck with a forklift. And so we get to use this now because it can carry the weight of the lumber, whereas the little Manitou struggles. So this is cool. And here we have Felix the Fanzelt forwarder. This one's a little bit of a different style of forwarder. I don't necessarily think they're doing this right, but that's just me. You see these two logs in the back? I would think that these would be much longer. They look too short for this thing. But anyway, this one is a different design. The ones that we normally have a flatbed, and you load the logs into that flatbed area and it holds them. This one's just open in the back. So I would imagine this looks like it has wires coming out. I don't know how this works. If these tighten up around the logs and then you just drag them back to the lumber mill, I'm assuming that's what you do with this. But same idea as the normal forwarder. You're using it to pull logs around the yard and get them back to the main area where the sawmill is, or to the truck loading station. But yeah, it's still cool. Neat stuff. Now, that brings us to the end of the equipment. That does not mean that there's not more equipment coming. We still have 2 weeks to go. They may come out and show us more equipment still, so we're not necessarily done with the equipment yet. We'll have to see what happens, but we've got some cool equipment lined up, and I am excited. Like I said, the forwarders are the most exciting things to me. Not the forwarders, the yarder. Now, I've seen pictures, too, of tractors with a yarder that goes on the front of the tractor. So we'll see, because like I said, that's not listed here, so that may be coming. But they haven't shown it in these fact sheets yet, so there probably still will be a couple more fact sheets. Like I said, I'm not going to cover them. I don't like doing like a ton of videos, like trying to get views by releasing the same information over and over again. But when we get in a week or two, we'll have that information. So I'll share that with you once we get the DLC in, and we'll see what else they have. All right. A new feature in the game is going to be tree marking. Maybe telling like where to cut, all that kind of stuff. You can see here the different symbols that you can spray paint on trees. Here's a diagram showing the different markings that you can use on the trees. I don't know. Like there's deadwood trees, it looks like. X can be various meanings. Saw off at this height. Remove tree, logging trail. Yeah, you get the idea. You can get the tree paint in different colors, and that would make sense. Like if I was marking a trail, I would maybe use pink. And if I was marking a tree to cut, I'd use red. And if I was marking a tree to not cut, or vice versa, maybe red, don't cut, yellow, do cut, that kind of stuff. So it looks like there's definitely some spray markers that are coming out that are different colors. Pretty neat. Also a new feature in the new version of the game, or in the Platinum Edition anyway. You're going to be able to crush stones using this wicked-looking SFB 750 that attaches to a front of a skid steer. You break rocks up into little bits and then scoop them up and load them into a dump truck or whatever, and you can sell the stones. I could see doing this if you're going to be doing logging in an area and you don't want to be getting stuck on rocks all the time. God, I wish they had something like this. And oh man, in SnowRunner, if they had this and you could break up the rocks and then dump them on the dirt roads, like where they're really muddy, and turn them into like graveled roads instead, so they're easier to pass for like regular road trucks. So you could repair the road. What a godsend that would be, man. These two developers need to get together, man. I'm telling you. Okay, so here we have a tractor that hasn't been talked about in the fact sheets yet. That's what I'm talking about. There's still equipment to come out. We have a Fansvelt, or whatever, Fansvelt, however you pronounce it. PM tractor, and this is going to be a logging specific tractor. It's got a winch in the back, and it's also got a crane to move logs. This looks to me like it's probably made by the Valtra Corporation. If you look at the front, once again, this area looks very much like a Valtra. So the tractor is probably built by Valtra, but then it's been completely modified to work a logging tractor frame. So it's got, like protectors to keep logs from bashing into the windows in the hood. We got a little shovel here to push, and a winch on the back, and then the crane to move things around if you lose them. Pretty cool stuff. Here we have some pictures of the yarder that I was talking about earlier, the one that fits on the tractor. That would be the Kohler K300. The K307 includes a powered module, so you can just leave it sit. And then we also look over to the right there. You have a forwarding wagon. So that would be if you didn't want to buy a forwarder, but you just wanted to use the tractor that you already had and use that as a forwarder. I don't necessarily love those trailers. I'd prefer using a forwarder, but they work. But yeah, so that's what I was talking about. For $38,000, we have a yarder that can be attached to a tractor. And here's photographic evidence of that being attached to a tractor. Hopefully, I think those stanchions come down on the ground when you're using it. Otherwise, you'll be tipping the tractor over. Here's a photograph of the other end of the yarder attached to a tree. This is the pulley that you'll attach the log to and then you'll pull it back to the tractor. And here we see the log has been attached to the pulley and is being carried back to the yarder. Also new with the Platinum Edition, we have Lizard Forestry boxes. These are cargo containers that are meant to fit on the back of a semi-truck or a train, probably a train in this case. And you can fill them up with logs. You can fill them up with lumber, like the pallets. So I think really they're meant for logs. We have a lot going on in this folder. We have a picture of the Volvo excavator that we use for tree moving with the big grappler, and it has a different attachment on it now. This is a small grappler, and they're loading single logs into one of the new pallet trailers. And you'll notice that it's on the back of a Schwartzmuller flatbed with the Volvo semi-truck up front. So we have a pretty cool Euro setup. We do the same thing here in America, though I don't think we put logs in trailers like this, but with the containers, they go on the back. However, we don't use a flatbed either. We actually have container trailers, and Europe does too, that they set those containers on. They have 4 posts that hold it on. They don't attach like that. But anyway, that's how they're doing it, and I'm not complaining. Once again, we have quite a bit going on here. We've got our front loader. Instead of having the big grapple on the front of it, it's got a set of forks, and they look like very large forks, and they're being used to load the Lizard container onto a train. So that is going to be happening in game. I don't know if we can drive the train. I don't know if we're going to be driving from one location to another, or if the train is just one of those things where you load it on there and it automatically goes away and sells them. Don't know. So far in this game, there hasn't been a lot of train driving going on. I think the France map had it, but the USA map wasn't very involved with the train. So we'll have to see. It looks like a pretty cool engine that they've added, a little switcher engine up front. I can't really tell the make because it's too far away. From what I've seen, it looks like an SW, but obviously it's generic. It's not a real engine, but they've made it look like an American SW switcher. Next up, new trees. We have lodgepole pine, ponderosa pine, and sequoia, also known as redwood trees. The giant sequoias are amazing. You wouldn't be able to cut those down with one of these loggers, though. They said there's over 20,000 trees on the map of Silverun when you first get in there. Hopefully there's some room for fields, because some of these processes that you're going to be having, well, we'll get to that. But you're going to have to do some farming, too. Here they've got a little demo of the trees being filled up into the Risutech tree planter. This goes on the front of the Volvo. Here we have a picture of some of the different tree cutters that are going to be available. Obviously, there's a harvester head here on the front of this Volvo. I'm not quite sure what this is, aside from probably a harvester head that picks them up from... Okay, so you got your forwarders that bring them out of the woods, and you're going to set them in piles on the ground. Remember, I told you we had that John Deere that carries the tree, like that big John Deere, and I said I didn't know what you would do with it. This is starting to make more sense. You're going to use that device to bring a whole tree down to a yard somewhere, and you're going to stack it in a pile. Then you're going to come along with this Volvo and this cutter and see where this one's vertical. And these can be rotated now, so you can actually pick stuff up off the ground using these also. Though, I don't know about this one, but for sure, the ones on the cutters on these can be rotated to actually go down to the ground, pick a tree that's on the ground up, and cut them. I think that's what this is. This is going to just pick up cut trees that are already on the ground, and you're going to use it to chop them into, 6, 10, 20-foot sections, however long. I think 8 meters is the longest you can go, which would be... times 3, was it 20 some odd feet, 24 feet. So anyway, that's my thought on what that P60 is, but those are the different harvester heads. Oh, and the other thing you'll notice here, and I didn't pick this up at first, these are 2 different Volvos. This is a 380 DL and this is a 250 DL. So we'll have different price points. Maybe the 250 is not big enough to handle this huge cutter. I'm not sure, but there's 2 different ones anyway. Yeah, I was correct about that. Here, the Kohler P60 is a processor head. It can lop off branches and cut trees into logs. The 250 allows that. The 380 allows you to use the the high performance harvester head. You can see a picture here. Let's get this bigger. Hang on. So there it is. There's the 380. And like I was saying, that I was correct. You need the bigger one for the harvester head. Looks like this also can do a Westech wood cracker, which should be used to pick up and move logs, not just cut them. The harvester cuts them and can turn them into, these harvesters turn them into stripped logs that are cut into segments. This would just cut the log and pick it up so you could load it onto a truck or bring it somewhere else to be harvested so one person can cut, the other person can harvest. I'm not sure what the cancella is. We'll look that up and see. Obviously used for picking up trees and moving them, this guy. And then this is the planter. Yeah, I'm looking through the article. I don't see anything mentioned specifically about this. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a stump grinder, honestly. But they're showing that these are all the attachments that work with these. And you have the Volvo with the harvester head. The smaller Volvo can also use the same equipment, but minus that harvester head. So they're pretty much identical, except for you have to use this head, which means you have to harvest stuff that's already been cut down, which you could do with this wood cracker. So you could get a cheaper device. And anyway, the whole point is there's a couple options for you there. Going through this too, we have, just some video of the trees getting cut down. There's a new system that shows a yellow ring till you're close enough and then it turns green and it cuts there. And we have a picture of that John Deere that I was talking about, picking those trees up. You can bring them back to the yard and dump them on the ground. And then this guy can pick them up off the ground, as you're seeing in that video right there. And they're going to pick that log up and cut it. So that's pretty cool stuff. All right, so the next thing that the Platinum expansion is offering is a bunch of new production chains. Here we talked a little bit about, up in the right-hand corner, iron ore. This is kind of confusing. We'll follow the tree and we'll see what we can make, all right? So if we take a tree, we can come over here and make carton roll and paper roll at the paper factory. That's a new factory, paper factory. Now, keep in mind that modders will be able to use these, and I bet you'll also be able to buy them and put them on already existing maps. So let's say for my American map that I've been playing, I want to add a paper factory or a wood turner. I should be able to do that. Looks like there's a picture frame factory, a pet accessory factory. And of course, we have the furniture factory. And now there's a barrel factory and a shingle factory and a flooring factory. Yes, this is what we've been wanting. More industry. So this is cool. Anyway, so we can take it to the paper factory and we can make rolls. Or we can take it to the sawmill. We can make wood beams, prefabs, or wood chips. We can also get wood beams out of it. There you go. We can sell these products, or we can take it, boards and planks. Boards will go to the flooring factory. And also it looks like planks have to go. And both of these things will make floor tiles. Planks will also make shingles. Now the boards go off by themselves. Oh, planks can also make picture frames. The boards come out and they go off by themselves and they can make fancy furniture. Now the planks coming back, the planks seem like they're more flexible. Planks can make pet accessories, but you have to, if you want to make a cat tree, you got to add wool. Okay, so you're going to have sheep and or cotton somewhere on the map. But you got to get wool. That sheep usually. That's how you get wool. So they're going to have a little farm for sheep or a big farm and a mower. And then you got a plank. Now planks and boards can both be used to make furniture. I'm assuming if you have both, you get more kinds of furniture. If you only have one or the other, you get less choices. Also coming up here, we have our planks going to a wood turner. And the wood turner also takes directly trees. Okay, so yeah, and so we got, like once again, I think you'll have limited choices depending on what you bring over, but that's how you get those. Now, coming over here, the planks can also go all the way over here to the barrel factory, but you're going to have to get iron ore out of the mountains. Somewhere there's going to be a mine on the map, and we're going to get iron ore, and that's going to go also to the barrel factory to make barrels. So we have a new huge production setup. That is really cool, and that means there's going to be a bunch of factories on the map, but also you can probably add those into maps that you have. If you have, you want to put some on Elm Creek, we'll go for it. So that's neat. I'm excited about that. This is very SnowRunner-esque. There's as they've featured many times, a very broken down roller coaster in Silverun. I don't know if you're going to be able to ride it. That'd be kind of fun. But you are going to have to rebuild this roller coaster using all of these different items shown. And so each time you're going to have to produce these items and add them. I don't know. They just have random numbers here about how many liters you're going to need. But I think there's probably going to be a certain number of each of these things that you have to bring in. Maybe you need 60,000 liters of each. 60,000 liters of staircase railings, floor tiles, metal, like 60 of each. Or maybe there's a 60,000 liter total. I don't know. We'll see. But this gives you an idea that you're going to be building that roller coaster that's on the map, which my wife is super excited about that. She's like, oh, that's awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to get her to play. And I would say last but not least, but we're still going to go through the preview video. This is showing the construction. I told you guys that I knew it. When I saw the video and I released it to you earlier, I knew that we were going to have sailboat production, and I was right. So here we have a sailboat factory. It says once you get all the materials to the sailboat, you'll be able to then build sailboats. It takes them a couple days to build a boat, and they launch at 2 o'clock every day. So if you want to go down and see the boat coming out and getting launched, you can come see it at 2 o'clock each time that the boat gets launched. And it's repeatable, and you sell the boats and make lots of money. However, they require a lot of materials, including fabric, which means you're going to also have to own the fabric factory. So you're going to have to own. This was actually pretty simple. It looks like you need wood beams and boards, which come out of the sawmill. But you're going to have floor tiles. Oh, and the planks, too. I got to look and see where those come from. These, I think, all come from the sawmill, but maybe not. Floor tiles have to be manufactured. Metal has to be manufactured. So there's some items that go into this. So you're going to be working to get this done. Last but not least, we're just going to look at the two trailers. Once again, this is a Platinum Edition trailer. And so it shows all the different things you get with gets where it gets a little confusing. You have a Platinum DLC or expansion, which is for those of us that already own the game and you're buying the new logging. This video covers the Platinum Edition, which has the new items, but it also includes the whole game. So the edition is the whole game. The expansion is for those of us that already own the game. So this video kind of covers a little bit of all of Farm Sim now, including the new stuff that we were just talking about. But it looks like in the video, and I haven't seen this yet, but there we go. So you got the logging going on. We did see a Volvo earlier, but they're just showing more of the Farm Sim game. Here's some logging stuff. There's the John Deere pulling the logs out. Look at that. That's pretty cool. And that can carry two trees at once. That's their thing with the John Deere. Oh, here's some video of the log harvester. That's cool. Grabbing trees. And those trees being used by the gatherer, the tree tent. The yarder, that's what it's called. There's a Volvo loading a big load of logs onto the train. They look a lot neater now than they did. It took only 10 tries to do that because the logs probably kept falling out. Ugh. There's the boat factory and pre-order now. This is the garage trailer showing all the stuff from the Platinum Edition. We've got our Volvo. This is the Volvos that I was talking about. These are nice because they're modular, so they can do multiple things. I'm thinking the Volvo might be the most flexible of the cutters. There's our new FH16 truck. Oh, that's the new one. Okay, that one, we didn't see that before. That's the modern version. So we had both the vintage Volvo and that truck. So there's actually 3 Volvos now. And the Komatsu cutter, that one has wheels instead of tracks. There's the new FH. There's our new, there's barrel factory being shown right there. And then the big Volvo. Oh, there's the engine. Yeah, that definitely is an SW style train engine. But, wait, we're going to go back. We're going to go back. So hold on. This is going to bug the crap out of me. Hold on. Where's the... Okay, let's take a look at that engine. Definitely American style, except for what the frick? Giants, come on. What is that? Captain Hook, arg! Also, both of these lights would be on. Though you can... no, they should both be on. We got ditch lights. You see these on engines that have a boosted engine. This is what's going to drive me nuts here, though. Okay. Oh, they went too fast. Oh, I guess this is the picture where I saw it. There we go. Okay, what do you see here? Those of you that are American train buffs, that is totally 100% European. We do not have buffers. And, oh, that's why it's got the big hooks. Okay, because they're not couplers. It's the European chain system that we don't use. Okay, so getting closer. Definitely an American-looking train, but not what we were hoping for. That's the log mover. That's cool right there. You saw the winch working. And there's our yarder working, dragging logs over. Here we have the big Hannibal cutter on the side of a mountain cutting trees, as they do. That's really cool. There's our big forklift again, lifting heavy loads and moving them around with ease. I love it. Oh, here's the forwarder. I was curious how that, there you go. That's how that works then. There's Felix. Maybe easier to load than the other forwarders because you only have to load from one side. So there's all the brands coming to the Platinum Edition. Once again, that includes the base game also. So there's some more brands than just what we're getting for those of us that are excited about the logging. So in closing, I'm pretty excited by what I see. Silverun looks like it's going to be a great map. And honestly, I think it's going to bring a lot of new stuff to the game. Though I'm not sure how much of it actually is, farming related directly, but it still looks pretty cool. And we're going to have sheep for the wool. We get a new industry. We get a bunch of new trees. This is going to be fun. I think this is going to provide us a lot of new and varied gameplay, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up always help. And I'm so thankful you guys are part of my channel. Make sure to come here for coverage. Like I said, as soon as I get it in my paws, we'll be Twitch streaming. The link to my Twitch channel is in the description. But I'll also be releasing videos. So I'll probably do a video first and then I'll start streaming it. It depends on if it has an embargo or not. We'll have to see. Sometimes they put embargoes on these videos. But anyway, have a great night. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up always help. And I will see you next time for Farm Sim 22, the Platinum expansion. Bye.